Is it acceptable for a presidential candidate to drop the F-bomb? Well, Donald Trump launched into a profane tirade about undocumented immigrants and warned that the upcoming election could be the last election we ever have if Kamala Harris wins. This was during a private fundraiser dinner earlier this summer. The Guardian newspaper has obtained a 12-minute audio recording of a speech that the disgraced former president delivered at this dinner on August 10th in Aspen, Colorado, where attendees were required to donate between $25,000 and $500,000 per couple to attend. Trump focused much of his address on border security and immigration, repeating xenophobic claims familiar from his rallies. He stated that radical left-wing lunatics wanted people to enter from prisons, mental institutions, and insane asylums without providing any evidence. He also claimed that the US was harboring a record number of terrorists. I've never heard so much projection coming from one man. Trump asserted that smart, very streetwise leaders of Venezuela and other South American countries were sending murderers and drug dealers to the US to reduce their own crime rates, relieve their prisons, and save money. Trump provided a false example of 22 people allegedly coming to the US after being released from prison in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We said, "Where do you come from?" They said, "Prison." "What did you do?" "None of your business what we did." "You know why? Because they're murderers," Trump said. Trump added, "I hate to use that foul language," seemingly recognizing that his use of the F-word was more extreme than in his usual campaign rallies. The Congolese government has denied the truth of Trump's statements. Trump continued, "These are the toughest people. These people are coming in from Africa, from the Middle East. They're coming in from all parts of Asia, the bad parts, the parts where they're rough. And the only good is that they make our criminals look extremely nice. They make our Hell's Angels look like the nicest people on earth." In reality, studies show that immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than native-born Americans. Trump traveled to Aspen on a private jet that had previously been owned by Jeffrey Epstein, the late disgraced financier and convicted sex offender, after Trump's aging Boeing 757 had experienced engine trouble. The dinner took place at the $38 million home of investors and art collectors John and Amy Fallon, with guests including Steve Wynn, Thomas Petterfy, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, and former Colorado Senator Cory Gardner. Trump, who instigated a coup against his own country on the 6th of January 2021, used his typical projection technique to falsely claim that his Democratic rival poses the real threat to democracy and used the event to warn of dire consequences if she were to become president. He said, "Look, we gotta win, and if we don't win, this country's going to hell." He said, "You know, there's an expression, this could be the last election we ever have, and it's an expression that I really believe, and I believe that this could be the last election we ever have." He's simply repeating that rhetoric because he's heard it said about him. And whenever Trump speaks now, you can just reverse what he says and realize what he really means. I just want to interrupt myself for a moment to ask you to kindly support me and independent journalism by becoming an exclusive member of this YouTube channel to receive members-only content, early access to videos, monthly live-streamed Q&As with me, and much more. It costs just $3 a month for membership, which goes towards helping me grow the channel and create factual, accurate news commentary for those who need it the most. Right now, the failures of corporate-owned media and the spread of disinformation and far-right propaganda has made finding authentic news coverage in the US difficult, and with your help, we can have a greater reach, whilst democracy hangs by a thread and the threat of fascism is more serious than it's ever been. I'll do my best to put out honest analysis every day, but I really need your help to do that. If you're watching on a computer, simply click Join directly below, or click the Join link in the description to join the 5 Minute News YouTube channel. If you already have a Patreon account, you can subscribe at patreon.com/5minutenews. Thank you. She wants open borders. With a politician, and I've seen it because I've been on both sides of politics for a long time now, a short time for this side, but I was always a contributor. She wants to go out and she wants to defund the police, and they always go back to their original plot. They always do, he said of Kamala Harris. Trump recounted how members of his Florida golf club, Mar-a-Lago, offered to make a contribution to the family of Cory Comprator, the firefighter who was fatally shot at Trump's assassination attempt at a rally in Butler County back in July. Trump said, "I said absolutely, and they gave me a check for $1 million. That's a lot of money. Maybe even more impressively, we put out a GoFundMe and we raised more than $6 million for the group that got hurt, which is essentially 3 people. Notice none of that money comes from Donald Trump himself. Then, recalling a meeting with Cory Comprator's widow, Helen, Trump made a risky attempt at humor. So they're going to get millions of dollars, but the woman, the wife, this beautiful woman, I handed her the check. We handed her the check, and she said, "This is so nice, and I appreciate it, but I'd much rather have my husband." Now, I know some of the women in this room wouldn't say the same. As dinner guests erupted in awkward laughter, Trump quipped, "I know at least 4 couples. There are 4 couples, Governor, Abbott, that I know of, and you're not one of them. At least 4 couples here that would have been thrilled, actually." The event reportedly raised $12 million for Trump's campaign, though this was not enough to stop Kamala Harris from raising more than 4 times as much as her opponent in August, the first full month of her presidential bid. Kamala Harris's national polling lead is growing, and even modest gains could prove significant. Poll watchers note that Harris may not require as large a popular vote lead as Democrats have needed in the past. The reason is because Harris is maintaining narrow leads in key battleground states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, while Trump is performing better than he did 4 years ago in states where he remains unlikely to win. An improvement in non-competitive states ultimately does not contribute to Trump's path to victory. I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.